Did you know there's a gun that can fire not only on land but also underwater? Yes, you heard me right. Guns in general are designed to shoot effectively in the air, and their functionality is deeply impacted when exposed to water. Water is 800 times denser than air, and that density complicates everything. But there's one gun that's designed to defy those odds: the APS underwater rifle. Hold on to your seats as we dive, quite literally, into the fascinating history, design, and sheer ingenuity that allows this firearm to work underwater. Let's start with the problem at hand. Shooting underwater is no easy feat. Picture this. You're submerged in water, and you try firing a bullet from a conventional gun. What happens? Ballistics as we know it falls apart once water enters the equation. Water creates resistance like no other, slowing bullets dramatically to the point where their effective range is reduced to mere inches. Accuracy? Forget about it. Power? Severely diminished. Shockingly, guns and water are usually a terrible mix. That's why it's almost unbelievable that we've developed a firearm to function in this hostile environment at all. Now, enter the APS, or Avtomat Podvodny Specjalny, the Soviet Union's answer to the challenges of aquatic warfare. Introduced in the 1970s, the APS was specifically designed for their combat divers, also known as frogmen. These aren't your run-of-the-mill divers. They were trained for stealthy underwater missions like sabotaging enemy ships or planting explosives. Sounds like a scene straight out of a James Bond movie, doesn't it? But what do you do when you encounter a threat while swimming 30 feet below the surface? That's where the APS comes in, combining science fiction with Cold War reality. So, what makes the APS different from a conventional firearm? Let's start with its barrel and ammunition. Conventional guns typically use spherical bullets, built for aerodynamics in air, not water. When fired underwater, these bullets lose energy rapidly, thanks to water's higher density. But the APS uses something entirely unusual: a dart-shaped projectile instead of a round bullet. Why a dart, you ask? Well, darts are more hydrodynamically efficient. Their slender, elongated design helps them cut through water with far less resistance, meaning they maintain their speed and trajectory for a much longer distance. Essentially, these are super bullets, tailored for a liquid battlefield. The APS doesn't just fire darts, it fires supersized ones. Each dart is 120 millimeter long, roughly the length of an average adult's hand. Compare that to the standard 9 millimeter bullet, and you'll start to appreciate how radically different this is. The sheer length of these darts enables them to be stable in flight for up to 100 feet underwater. That's groundbreaking, considering a normal bullet fired underwater might struggle to travel beyond a few feet effectively. Now let's talk about the mechanics beyond just the ammunition. A typical rifle barrel has rifling, spiral grooves cut into it to give the bullet a spin, improving accuracy. The APS? No rifling here. That's because rifling isn't effective in water. Instead, the APS relies on a smooth bore which accommodates the dart ammunition perfectly. The absence of rifling isn't a limitation here. It's a vital design adaptation for underwater use. But there's more to it. The APS is powered by gas pressure, much like any automatic rifle. The difference? It's engineered to produce enough force to propel the darts underwater while compensating for the immense resistance that would otherwise slow them down immediately. When you think about it, all these elements combined, the dart ammo, smooth bore, and careful power adjustment, make up a marvel of engineering mastery. Even though fired underwater, the APS doesn't shy away from effectiveness. Here's the part that might blow your mind even more. The APS rifle doesn't just shoot well underwater. It performs in both aquatic and terrestrial environments, but with limitations. On land, its range and accuracy are nowhere near those of a conventional firearm, and its durability might not match up either. Nevertheless, this adaptability is where the APS sets itself apart. It's this room for compromise that makes it such a unique firearm, perfectly suited for amphibious missions. You might be wondering, Why doesn't the APS dominate today's underwater weapon systems? The answer is simple. Time and innovation march forward. The APS was brilliant for its time, but more modern alternatives like the Russian SPP-1 or the Heckler & Koch P11 have since replaced it. These newer firearms often employ more advanced tech, such as specialty caseless ammunition, making them even more versatile. That said, you can't talk about underwater weaponry without paying homage to the APS. This wasn't just a firearm, it was a masterpiece forged for an almost alien battlefield. Just imagine the ingenuity it took to solve problems no one had previously dared to address. The APS rifle is a brilliant melding of science, ballistics, and engineering under extreme conditions. It symbolizes what's possible when we step outside the boundaries of conventional thinking. But let's not downplay the challenges. Designing and manufacturing such a weapon is no walk in the park. Both the conditions it's made for and the materials used have to withstand extremes. The rifle must cope with the immense pressures of underwater environments while still operating seamlessly. From combating rust to fine-tuning gas pressures for firing, every aspect of the APS design was a balancing act of compromises and breakthroughs. To wrap up, the APS rifle isn't just a gun, it's a testament to human ingenuity. It challenges the limits of what firearm design can achieve. Who would have thought that something so heavily reliant on the principles of air and ballistics could adapt itself to work underwater, where everything is different? Even though the APS might be a relic of its time, it remains a stellar example of innovation in the once unimaginable field of underwater firearms. So the next time you think you've heard it all about guns, remember this. There's a firearm that dares to operate in an environment 800 times denser than air. Be it science, engineering, or sheer audacity, the APS rifle truly embodies what it means to redefine what's possible. And that, dear viewers, is a story worth sharing. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep exploring the extraordinary world of firearms with us.